What's up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my Draftkings MMA picks for UFC Columbus. We have Chris Daukaus going against Curtis Blades.
I need all the wins, yeah. Harder than all it is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
And we are back for another Draftkings picks video this week, getting it out a day late. I'm honestly not sure what took so long to get the Kisrev salaries in, and I obviously needed those to do, my projections and a lot of stuff, so they're able to finally get that, I think, like late Thursday night or early Friday morning, but regardless, we're all good now, ready to break down this card from a DFS perspective. Before we get started, if you guys can please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Going to be going live Friday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, and then Saturday, 1 hour prior to the prelim. So, I say we get started. We'll start with the fight doesn't go to decision lines. Up top, we have Kisrev Tulian, minus 565. Fight doesn't go to decision. I did see on FanDuel Sportsbook they actually have minus 750. Fight doesn't go to decision, which is definitely getting up there considering Kisrev has won 5 decisions in his career. He has shown that he could go 3 rounds, so a little bit wide here, but I think it probably does finish inside the distance. I'm more so going to be on Kisrev, and I talked about how they took a while to get the salary out, and they completely messed up the salary. I mean, they put it at 9,300. Kisrev's literally minus 1,000. He's like minus 300 to win inside the distance, and you can get him at 9,300. So the price is off. I'm going to be very high on Kisrev. He is my highest stone fighter. Give me all the Kisrev, and then as far as Denise, probably not going to have much, if any at all. Next, we have Blades Daukaus minus 350. Fight doesn't go to decision. I think this fight has a very good chance of finishing as well. And Blades is definitely up there in ownership for me. I believe I have slightly more Kisrev, but I love Blades. I love Kisrev. And I will have some Daukaus. Daukaus is sitting at 7,000. He has a ton of power. If Daukaus does win, it's going to be inside the distance. But we saw what happened in Blades' last 5-round fight. He went out there and put up like 172 against Volkov. I think he can kind of do the same thing here. Tons of takedowns against Daukaus, and eventually probably get a finish in the mid part of the fight. I don't really see this going long, so I like Blades a lot. As far as Daukaus, he's not the worst punt in the world. This guy's a ton of power. Oleinik Latifi minus 210. Fight doesn't go to decision. This one's weird because this is such a weird fight. You have Alair Latifi's 8,600, Oleinik 7,600. I can just see this fight going so many different ways. I could see Latifi knocking out Oleinik. I could see Latifi taking down Oleinik and laying on him for 15 minutes. I could see a boring striking fight. I could see Oleinik submitting Latifi. This fight can go so many different ways, but I kind of feel like it's going to be important. So I have a good amount of both here. It's a very ugly fight, but both guys don't have the best gas tank. Both guys are somewhat dangerous. Oleinik very dangerous with the submissions, and Latifi does have a lot of power. So I guess I could see a finish, but again, ugly fight. I feel like it's somewhat important, so gotta play some of it. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. And then Mark Diakasey going against Borshev, minus 190. Fight doesn't go to decision. I actually kind of think this does go to decision, but Borshev obviously showed that he's very dangerous with a finish in the Contender Series, a finish in his debut as well against Dakota Bush. Diakasey has not been finished by knockout before, but there is a first for everything. I could see Slava definitely knocking him out here. But on the flip side, I do like Diakasey as a dog. He's 7,500. I think he can mix in takedowns. I think the striking will be competitive if he does not get knocked out. Overall, probably a good fight to target. Not extremely high on Slava this week, 8,700. But if he does win, I could see a knockout. So I think both sides here is the right call. But I could see this fight going the distance, honestly. Getting into our core plays, Curtis Blades, he is 9,200. Somebody you want to play on DraftKings quite a bit. When he is losing, it's to guys like Derek Lewis and it's guys like Francis Ngannou. And if he wants to test his striking on the feet, first of all, I think he'll have success if he does get knocked out. I think Blades' striking is very underrated. It's just, you do not want to strike with Chris Daukaus. This guy's very fast, has a ton of power. Just take down Chris Daukaus, wear on him, and I don't think Daukaus has the cardio to go 5 rounds. I really don't even think Daukaus has the cardio to go 3 rounds. I think Curtis Blades finishes him probably in that 2nd or 3rd round there. Tons of takedown upside, control time upside, and eventual finish for Curtis Blades. I like him a lot. Matt Brown, 8,200. Lots of things to like about Matt Brown this week, other than he's 41 years old, but he was able to get a nice knockout win in his last fight. Brian Barberena, 32 years old. He's 9 years younger, but Brian Barberena has not looked the same his last couple fights since that Luque fight. The chin doesn't seem to be there. Got finished by Brown, and then also got finished He didn't get finished, but he got dropped twice by Jason Witt, which is a terrible look. And we know that Matt Brown hits very hard. He's going to be in his hometown as well. I think Matt Brown at 8,200 is a very interesting play. I'm going to have quite a bit. But I think this fight as a whole is one to target. It's like minus 190 now. Fight doesn't go to decision. You have the 8,200 to Brown and 8,000 to Barberena. I think this is going to be an absolute war for as long as it lasts. And I do like the Matt Brown side myself. Denat Baccarel, 8,500. I like this guy quite a bit. This guy has a ton of power in his hands, 83% finish rate, back-to-back-to-back knockouts, and when he is winning, he's scoring over 100 points. This will be the toughest test for him in terms of the striking of Chris Gutierrez, but I do think that Denat is going to have opportunities to knock out Chris Gutierrez. I know Gutierrez has never been knocked out before, but Denat Baccarel hits very, very hard. What I also like about Denat is he has a ton of volume as well. This guy's landing over 6 significant strikes per minute. So if he does not knock out Chris Gutierrez, I still think he can win a decision, put up a good amount of volume there. But I do think the knockout's live, and I think if he does knock out Chris Gutierrez, it very well could be early. But like me some Denat, 8,500. And then Kisrev, 9,300. Just underpriced. I mean, this guy should be 9,600. It doesn't make much sense to me. Minus 1,000 on the money line. He has a great matchup. Stylistically, I think he's going to take down Denise. Probably, get him out of there some ground and pound or submission. Probably even in the first round. I could see this going 3 rounds. If he does, I think he's going to dominate all 3 of the rounds. He's a big favorite. Don't really give his opponent much of a chance. So I'm going to have a ton of Kisrev. He is my highest stone fighter. I like him in blades a ton this week. Getting into our GPP plays here, our tournament plays, we have Borshev, 8,700. This guy's a beast. I love his striking. He has a ton of power as well. Just knocked out his last opponent in the UFC. It would not completely shock me if he knocked out Mark Diakese, who did get hurt in his last fight against Alves there. But yeah, like me some Borshev, 8,700. Don't think it's the worst play in the world. Ilir Latifi, 8,600. This is the definition of a GPP play, a GPP fight as a whole. I don't know what's going to happen here, but Oleinik has been knocked out like 10 times. Oleinik is now like 44, 45 years old. And Latifi, when he does throw, he does hit very hard. So I think he could knock out Oleinik, or I think he could take him down and lay on him for 3 rounds, which either way, I think in a win, Latifi probably scores well. Askar Askarov, 9,100. So you look through the game log, Askarov has not scored well yet in the UFC. But, I mean, this could very well be a fight where he does score well. I think he's going to have a big grappling advantage here. Kai Kara-France on paper is hard to take down, 91% takedown defense. But, Askarov is going to probably be the best wrestler he has fought thus far. Askarov's wrestling is relentless. It's legit. His grappling's very good. I feel like although he's not scored well yet, maybe he can come out here and get a submission. Maybe he can come out here and get a bunch of takedowns. I think those are both on the table. And at 9,100, I will have some Askar Askarov. And then Luis Saldana, 8,300. Kind of a weird fight here. I believe it's the first fight of the night. Saldana is very good. I think he's very talented, training at a good camp. And he has a 93% finish rate. So when he is winning, it is inside the distance. So that's why I'm going to have some Saldana. I don't like the fight as a whole. But I think if I was to play anybody in the fight, it's going to be Saldana there. I think he does have that finish upside, at least early on. Live dogs, Mateus Nicolau, 7,800. I think a lot of these fights for the live dogs are very close. Not really one dog sticks out too much. Like last week, Jack Shore stuck out big time, and it obviously paid off. But, I'm going to kind of sprinkle a bunch of these dogs. Like Mateus Nicolau, 7,800. Going against David Dvorak, I think it's a very close and competitive fight. I also think Nicolau has a very good ground game. I believe he's a black belt in BJJ. I think he can mix in the wrestling as well. It probably does go to decision, and I think if Nicolau does win at 7,800, it could be enough to find its way on the optimal lineup. Mark Diakese, 7,500. I think on the feet it's going to be competitive. I do slightly favor Slava there. But again, Borshev has very questionable takedown defense. He's been taken down in every single fight I watched. Diakese does actually go for takedowns, and a good amount of them, and I feel like he can mix in takedowns here, make it close, and if he does win, I see a Diakese decision, which it could score pretty well. You got to imagine if he does mix in some takedowns as well. And on top of that, Diakese is pretty dangerous in his own right, so don't mind some Diakese as a dog. And then Oleinik, 7,600, you're kind of banking on, I don't know, you're banking on like a submission off his back type situation, which is, it could happen. Oleinik has submitted a bunch of guys and a bunch of weird positions, and, anything can happen in this fight, I feel like. So Oleinik, 7,600, I will sprinkle some. Kind of feels like the Paul Craig spot last week, but it's much, much uglier here. And then Sarah McMahon, 7,300, I feel like she actually is very live in this fight. She is 41 years old, but I feel like at least early on she's going to have a big advantage in terms of getting down Carol Rosa. On paper, Rosa has like a very good takedown defense, but she has not been really tested much at all in the UFC. I know Procopio tried to take her down a bunch, but you take a look at Rosa outside of the UFC. She was submitted twice in 2018. She was taken down quite a bit in one of those fights she was submitted in. And McMahon's going to be the best wrestler that Rosa's fought by a mile. And I feel like Rosa, or McMahon, at least early on, is going to have success. The problem with McMahon is the gas tank, the age, but I feel like McMahon can, if she wins this fight, I feel like she can score very, very well. So to give me some McMahon, 7,300. Not picking her to win, but if she does win, expect a big score. Pump plays, Chris Daukaus. The definition of a pump play here, puncher's chance. If he wins, it's going to be a knockout. He's not going to go out there and win a decision against Curtis Blades. He's not going to go out there and stuff the majority of the takedowns. If he wins, it's probably a knockout. It's probably in the first round. And for that reason, you do have to sprinkle some Chris Daukaus there. Joanne Wood, 7,200. Tons and tons of volume for Joanne Wood. She is throwing over 6.71 significant strikes landed per minute, which is phenomenal volume. And, you know, they may not be significant if you know what I mean, but they do count as significant strikes, and those definitely do add up. And a Joanne Wood, she would win. She typically scores extremely well, and I feel like this is a very close fight. I also feel like Wood could potentially mix in some takedowns. Grasso has struggled with the takedown defense in the past, but very close fight. Lots of volume for Wood. I feel like it could go either way. So at 7,200, I do like me some Wood, especially in cash, but for tournaments as well, I don't hate her. And then finally, my fade is going to be Bruno Souza. 7,900. This guy just, he has the worst finish rate on the entire slate at 30%. Alexa Grasso has a higher finish rate than him. He doesn't throw anything. He doesn't go for takedowns. If he does go for takedowns, he doesn't have the wrestling to get it there. I think he loses this fight. I know a lot of money's coming in on him, but I don't know. I just don't see it. I just don't see him doing much. If he's going to win a fight, or this fight, it's going to be very boring for one, and I just don't think Saldana is going to come in here and fight a very boring style here. So I think Saldana wins this one. I don't see Bruno Souza scoring well at all. And yeah, that is about it. Sorry about the delay, guys. Not technically my fault, but I usually want to get this out on Thursday, but was waiting for that Kizraev and Tulian salary to get out. But yeah, that's about it, guys. If you want extra content, everything is already out on dfsbythenumbers.com. Come check it out. We have a week off next week, and then we'll be back for a big card. I believe UFC 273. Cannot wait for that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, all the good stuff, and we'll talk to you very soon. See you guys.